Hello everyone. So we are going to actually be talking about a shadow work process today. Um, the reason I decided to do this video was because I already did some of this healing work. I did it yesterday, and I wanted to document the process, but also like share the process, because I know a lot of times like people are told like you need to do your shadow work, you need to do your inner work, you need to look at your ego, you need to, look at yourself and like do your healing work, right? And I've noticed that, there's a lot of people that say that, but not always. I mean, it depends on where you look, and everyone's going to resonate differently with different types of shadow work. So if this resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. But the reason I'm doing this is because it's like sometimes there isn't exactly like you're not exactly like given the information to know how to do the shadow work. So it's like people say, do your shadow work. Okay, great. How do I do that? So that's the purpose of this video, to kind of like, if it resonates with you, it can be a blueprint. It's something that personally worked for me, and it just, it's been healing for me. So I'm just kind of gonna share my story with you about it, and play song bowls when I feel called to. But yeah, so I do have comments turned off. I will, eventually turn them back on probably at the end of the video if I feel called. But for now, it kind of just needs to be just my own energy right now. Like there's a barrier there. This needs to be just my own energy right now. And, so we're just going to, get into it, I guess. And any kind of healing, channeling, energy work, whatever, messages, um, all of that is relevant, whenever you find the video, because this is currently a TikTok live. I will be putting this video on YouTube. So, like, if you guys are watching this live, thank you for being here. If you're watching it on the replay, on YouTube, again, thank you for being here. Much love. All right, so we're just gonna get into it. So I'm gonna ground first. If you guys want to ground too, you're welcome to. Just visualize those roots growing out of the base of your spine or your feet and going deep down into the earth until you find Mother Earth's heart. And wrap those roots once, twice, 3 times, tie them off nice, good and tight. Mother Earth is going to keep us grounded, stable, and secure, and I thank you. This is a safe space of non-judgment and unconditional love. And I call in the spirit teams and the archangels, Archangel Michael, to surround myself, the viewer in the space, with divine protection. And you can also envision that you're just putting like this bubble or this barrier around you, this veil around you, so that it's just your energy. You're not influenced or receiving any outward energy. It's just your own energy and self-reflection. Not the influences of others, not the energy of others, not the wants, desires, things they don't like of others. This is just a space for your own energy and self-reflection and inner healing, because it's a matter of self. And I thank you. We're going to come to our breath for a moment and visualize this green healing light Just breathing it in, cleanse and clear your chakras. Release anything you're holding on to, any pain, tension, anything you let go of, let it come out on your exhale. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Release. This is very calming energy. I release any energy that is not my own. I release it back to where it came from, cleansed with unconditional love. And I call my power back to me. I call my own energy back to me, cleansed and charged with unconditional love. It's positive. Just your energy is your energy, my energy is my energy, and just separate that. They don't need to be all tangled up. And come back to center. Come back to home with yourself. Okay. So, basically what we're going to talk about is some energy work that I did yesterday. So, I was on just the happiest, the most joyful, just so euphoric feeling. And like just really loving experiences. And I think for a couple of days, I went up and I was just in this euphoric, wonderful, amazing feelings and experiences, right? And I went into meditation and, was also talking with other people, like receiving information and downloads and channeling, from other people. But when I went into this meditation, I had to, I was listening to what others were saying, but I was also listening to the downloads. And then it was like, okay, I need to listen to my inner being. I need to listen to my inner voice. I need to listen to my own guidance from my own higher self. Like at the end of the day, I have to trust in myself and my own abilities. But also while remaining humble to listen to the messages or guidance of others. And something that was told to me that did really, sit with me for a moment was someone told me it's great to be in that feeling of euphoria, but don't use it as a form of escapism to avoid the negative feelings that are lingering underneath. And at first I was like, what? Am I not allowed to be happy? And it's like, no, that's not the case at all. Like, you are very much allowed to be happy. I'm very much allowed to be happy. Very much so. I am allowed and safe to feel these wonderful emotions and have these wonderful experiences. However, there always needs to be balance. And something I downloaded for myself last night was, it's wonderful to be in those euphoric moments, but you can't live there forever. Just like you can't live in the lows forever. There always needs to be a balance. It always needs to come back to center. You always need to come back home to yourself. It's not always going to be these euphoric moments. It's not always going to be tragedy. You don't have to swing back and forth, swinging up high and then crashing down low. It is very possible to have these moments and then come back to center without swinging into a low. Okay? So, you are very, we, us, whoever's watching this, we are all allowed to feel safe. You're allowed to be safe. You're allowed to feel happiness. You're allowed to feel joy. Sometimes those moments can get, sometimes those wonderful moments can get very, very intense. And it's like you just don't want it to end. But in pining and grasping, it also kind of pushes it away. Because you can't control that flow. It just needs to flow. It's like you don't really contain, like, it's like you don't really contain a river. The river just flows, right? And you can put your hands in the stream and feel the energy of the water, and you can feel like water's emotion. You can feel all of that, right? And you can, that's, but you're not gonna sit there and like take buckets of the river out, you know what I mean? Like, you take your hands out and then you put it back in, and that river, while it is still the river, it is not the same energy or water that you had just touched before. So like when you try to contain that river, like let's say you build a dam, right? And you try to contain it and control it, then that is, that's resistance, and it changes the whole ecosystem, and it just creates a blockage, a barrier. But when you let it flow, that river's going to go back to the ocean. That river's going to be flowing, from just through all of these different spaces and going through all of these different energy and nourishing so many different, just life in general. It's like you can never step in the same river twice. Which is really beautiful. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the message was the message. If it resonates, it resonates. If it don't, it don't. Just take what resonates, okay? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I downloaded those messages about, like, you don't have to crash, just come back to your center. And, it's like, coming back to the present moment, coming back to reality, coming back to a grounded state. Like being grounded in the present moment. Just be in the present moment. Time is, there are so many layers to time, but if you have to like break it down, it's like there truly is only this present moment. There's only this moment, this time right now. And the time is shifting with your alignment and vibration, right? Anyway, so I was coming down off of this just euphoric moment. Well, actually, before I came off the euphoric moment, there was the time where it was like I had got the download or the message of like, don't use it as a form of escapism to ignore the true feelings that are still lingering. So I, went home, and I was like, okay, like, obviously, I don't want to be, like, ignoring things, because there's been a lot of stuff that I've kind of, like, compartmentalized and, like, I don't want to say, like, shoved down, but there's been a lot of stuff that has just really you know, I haven't really unpacked it. Like I have unpacked it, but not like on the surface level. And so currently right now, excuse me. Currently right now, I moved towns, and I separated from my husband. So again, if this resonates with you, awesome. But like I separated from my husband. I moved into a house of my own. I changed my job. One, this is the first time ever being in a big city. Two, like I said, the separation. It's not a divorce, but it's a separation right now. I don't know if it's going to end in divorce, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, we are currently no contact. So, which is difficult, but it is what it is. So then, I started basically like 2 jobs at once, and then being overwhelmed of living on my own for the first time, and a strange place, and then just having truck issues, and then one of my goats died, which was so my mental health went it went down, and it went down fast, and things got very scary. Things got very scary. Things got very unstable, and my mental health went to some very dark places that I don't want to be down, right? And so all of these things are big, major things. I mean, if that's a lot, each of those things are big things all by themselves. But to have it all happen at once, that's just I know everything happens the way it needs to, but that's, it's very difficult, okay? Very difficult. And just really trying to like recover mentally. And I did get into therapy. I found a therapist that I like, so I'm starting therapy to, unpack while also, connecting with my spiritual practice, my spiritual team, and, just unpacking the layers as I feel called to. It's like I feel like I'm in this hermit mode where it's like I've been given the space to heal, because you can't heal in a space that's making you sick. But it's like I'm so fucking alone, lonely. But it's like, you know what? No, this is my healing space. This is the space where I'm allowed to heal on all the layers in all the areas. So anyway, so that's a lot of the stuff that, and dealing with all the emotions, towards those situations and towards other people, while also coming to the realizations of how everything is a reflection, how people are reflecting things to you. You're being shown things. You're being shown things through your interactions, through your encounters. There's a purpose to every encounter, right? It's like you're always being, like, your vibration and your reality is a reflection of what's going on here mentally, okay? And a lot of times, like, your experiences are also, a reflection of words you've spoken in the past or vibrations you've held in the past, and then it just came in, law of attraction, went out. And that's why, it's so important when you're doing manifestation work to, like, you want to focus on them wonderful feelings to draw in the good manifestations. But if you're constantly in the dumps and just running in circles and, like, just staying in those lower vibrations and staying in those lows, you're just going to create more chaos. We're stepping out of chaos. That's the whole purpose of this video, is like we're taking a step out of chaos, and we're stepping into peace, and we're moving into peace. We are not only embodying unconditional love, we're embodying peace. Peace. No more chaos, just peace. Chaos does create opportunity. There's always a balance and a duality to everything. There's always going to be that, the light and the shadow, but there's always going to be a little bit of light in the dark. There's always going to be a little bit of shadow in the light. Like, things are gray. It's both. Okay? Duality. We are infinite beings. So anyway, I was thinking about, okay, I've been on this really wonderful high, but then I was like, okay, what can I process at this time? Like, what's ready to be released? What's ready to be processed? What memory am I able to work on and like clear that energy, clear the emotion, and just come to terms with it? Because it's like I feel like I'm also, as I've been dealing with a lot of grief, I feel like I've been moving through the different stages of grief, but it's not like a straight linear line. It's like it's kind of all over the place. But I feel like I can move into the stages of acceptance on some things. I have to clear all those emotions, or whatever you're going through, you got to clear all the layers of emotions. Now, I'm not saying you got to sit here with a shovel and just dig and dig and dig and dig. No, 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 no. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break when you need it. Keep yourself balanced. Always follow up these hard healings, hard things, whatever. Always follow that up with raising your frequency, raising your vibration, doing something for yourself, showing yourself that self-love, self-care. You also don't want to be approaching all of these negative, like sorry, hang on, trying to get clear here. So you don't want to force yourself to do shadow work when you're already not in a good place mentally. Sometimes people can use shadow work as a form of self-harm. Like, they think they're working through something, but in reality, they were just really in the dumps and now they're kind of just picking themselves apart. But you don't need to pick yourself apart because you're not fucking broken. Okay? You are perfect and divine at every stage. You are beautiful at every stage of your healing journey. Every stage. And so what I did was, I went home that day and I was like, what can I release? What can I clear? And, what emotions, what layers do I need to clear? And I started, I wanted to dance. I wanted to because like somatic therapy is like where you're like getting into your body. Like you can dance and like, stomp and move and just really move your body, get into your body, and it moves that energy out of you. Like, it moves that energy out of you and allows you to release it. While also, if you have any kind of fight or flight hormones, it can also kind of like flush those out of your system. Working out will do the same thing. So I really got into I just wanted to dance. Like, and I was kind of going into this meditative space of like, show me what I need to work on. Like, what can I release right now? Like, I just want to feel good. Like, I'm already feeling good. And it was like, so I just started dancing and I started shaking and like, I had all these different emotions come up and I was just, but there came a point where I was like, my legs feel so strong right now. Like, they feel so strong right now. I feel so good right now. Like, and then that's when it brought up the memory of when I could not walk. Like, when I could not use my legs. So I'm coming out of a space of a time in my life where it's like I felt very unsafe in my body, and that's something that I want to work on and get better. It's like, yes, I want to experience love. Yes, I want to experience pleasure. Yes, I want to experience all kinds of sensation. Yes, I want to do womb healing. Yes, I want to, discover myself and what I truly enjoy, like, and then you want to get a little more deep on it, I want to explore some kink, but it's like there's a lot of things I want to explore that has to do with feeling safe in my body, because by feeling safe in my body, I'm able to then go and heal the younger version of me that did not feel safe in her body. Okay? So when I was feeling my legs and I was dancing, I was like, it brought up a time where I could not walk. it brought up a time where, you know, where I was very humiliated, and like medical trauma, and just, you know, a lot of self-limiting beliefs. And my ears started ringing when I said that. I hear you, Spirit. But anyway, so I got on my Reiki table. I got some paint. I was like, you know what? I want to feel safe. Root chakra, safety, you know, foundation. And I was like, you know what? I want to work on this, and I want to honor my legs because I feel very grateful for them. So I laid on my Reiki table. I got some paint, and I just started like painting my legs, you know, body paint, and just loving myself. Like, one, it was to be able to enjoy the sensation, but two, it was also, you know, it was healing, it was, you know, energy, and it was just like, okay, it just felt really wonderful. And, you know, like I said, I painted all over, and then I just admired myself, like that self-love. I was admiring myself and showing so much gratitude, and like talking like to that younger version of us, like your legs are beautiful, like your legs are fine, like you're strong, I'm strong, like we're very strong now, like we can do things, we can use them, like you're not weak. And like basically I am safe in my body, I am in control of my body. And what it did was, after doing that and just like being in that like admiring and just stage, I then got a journal, and I sat down with my root bowl. I sat down and I was like, okay, what do I need to do with this? What do I need to do with this? And so I sat down, and I was like, I'm basically setting the intention, you know, to speak all this loving affirmation over myself, and like talk to myself about things. Like, you know, I was like, I want to be able to clear the memory, not clear the memory, but like clear the emotion and the trauma and the baggage that resides in that memory of, you know, feeling unsafe and like not being able to walk. And I was like, and I talked to Spirit, and I was like, Spirit, show me what I need to see right now. And I was telling my inner child, I was like, we're gonna relive some of this for a moment, okay? But we're doing this to release it so we can let it go. It's like, so I know you're gonna feel those negative emotions for a moment, but we're not gonna stay there. But we are going to have to feel them to move through them. And you know, just like I said, just let them go. And I did a lot of energy and Reiki like on my actual legs, like while I was, you know, journaling. And I relived the scenario, like I journaled it out, and I like relived the scenario of when my legs like basically like stopped working. And and that took me back to a place of, you know, like when I was rushed to the hospital, and like the doctors, and then like the muscle spasms and the high blood pressure, and like just that frozen, limp, lethargic feeling, like that, just not being in control of anything, you know. And just, you know, it was fucking scary. It was very scary. It was just fucking traumatic. Like, and I was reliving that. And what actually surprised me was, like, I thought I was going to be taken to the part where I was walking with a walker, but I was like, no, it brought me back to that moment at the actual hospital when they wouldn't work. And I was looking at the memory. It's like I saw the memory and I relived it and I felt it and I cried. But then also, like, as I was journaling, I would underline the emotions I felt when things happened, and I would like highlight it. It'd be like, okay, humiliation, you know, obviously, you know, like having to use the bedpan, or having to like not be able to walk, or like having to have people like move you around. Like I used to be a lot heavier, and they had me like in this sling when they would move me around because I was limp and lethargic. So I remember the feeling of being lifted in that thing and like not liking it, that I couldn't just, you know, move myself, or like I said, like the bedpan and stuff. But it's like, that's humiliating. So it was like I underlined it, like that's humiliation. Like that is an emotion that I can clear, and or the fear is like all the different, and I listed off all the fears that I had in that moment, like what scared me, what was bothering me, and I underlined it, and I was like, okay, I had fear here, I had fear here, I had fear here, or this made me sad, or this bothered me. And it was like being really honest with myself about how I felt about these things as I was sort of reliving it. And there was a couple moments like where, okay, so for example, like talking about the sling, you know, because I used to be a lot heavier and they had to move me in the sling. And I wrote in there, you know, I didn't like it because I felt like out of control, but two, I didn't like it because it just made me feel really fat. And I underlined that. And I was like, wait a minute. We are loving ourselves. We're loving ourselves. However, where did this come from? Like, and it was like, where did it come from? Why are you worried about like being fat? And it was like, so I underlined that, and it was almost like another layer to it. And it was like, you know, how my mom talked about herself and my mom's lifestyle, because she was all about, you know, losing weight, fat is bad, like that was her journey, and that's great. But it was kind of hard for a daughter that was growing up to kind of have like a really bad body image, right? Like body image problems. And because, you know, how she would treat me, you know, sometimes, or like, you know, when it came to weight, which was really not okay, or just listening to how she would talk about herself when it came to weight, or like how her friends would talk when it came to the weight, either for themselves or me. And it was just, so that was a layer that was brought up when I was upset about the sling. So see, those are two completely different memories, but they're layers. They're layers, okay? And it gave me the knowledge of, okay, this is something to come back to and work on. Right now we're working on this layer, but that's another thing. Now that I have the knowledge of that's something that where it came from, it's like, okay, then I can work on it, but like we're clearing the first layer first, and then go deeper and clear that layer, and then go that layer. It's like you're shedding, you're processing, right? And just having a self-awareness for all different kinds of things. And so like I said, and I did this for a couple of things, like as I was writing out the memory and like reliving it, and I caught myself because I would like kind of drift away, like back into that euphoria moment, and I was like, whoa, now I know what I'm doing. Now I'm realizing what I just did. I not dissociated, but like I pulled away because I was trying to work on a very painful memory, and I pulled myself back out to then be like, oh, let's think about this instead. Feels better. This feels safer. We don't have to worry about that. And I had to stop myself and be like, no, this needs to be dealt with, and we don't need to run from it. Like, it is safe. Just like we felt safe in that euphoric moment, just like we felt safe and loved and treasured and nourished, we can then take that healing energy and give that to that younger self that was going through all of those things. So all of these wonderful feelings, it's like, give that same love to the younger version to heal the memory, but you can't run away from the bad memory by drawing on that wonderful high. Am I making sense? I know you guys can't comment because I have the comments turned off, but it's like, I hope I'm making sense right now. It's like, and it kind of goes back to what I was told, you know, before I even started the process. It's like, you can't use it as a form of escapism to not deal with the layers underneath, basically, the emotions underneath. And so I kept bringing myself back to the memory, and I was like, not like to sit there and be like, you're gonna talk about this, like scooch up to the table, you're gonna talk about this. No, fuck that. It's not that. It's just we know we need to clear it. We know the energy needs to be cleared. We know the energy needs to be worked through, and that is also a part of like rewiring your brain to be like, it is safe to process emotions. It is safe to feel all the layers of emotions. You are safe to feel every layer of emotion. You are safe to express your emotions in a healthy manner. You are safe to feel. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be sad. It is okay to be upset. It is okay to be hurt. It's okay to grieve. It is safe and okay to feel the way that you do. You don't have to run away and deny your feelings or shove them down or just act like they don't exist. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh my God, if I feel my feelings, I'm going to get in trouble. Like that, where did all of that come from? Where did all of those why do you feel unsafe to speak your emotions? You feel unsafe to speak your emotions because somewhere, someone made you feel unsafe to feel your emotions. Like maybe this is a parent or maybe this is a partner and they were like, if you got angry, you would be like reprimanded for being angry in any sort of way. Or maybe you were like sad and it's like, oh, shut the fuck up, stop crying. Like, so it's like it was shown to you at a young age, it is unsafe to be angry because angry kids don't get love, right? Angry kids aren't taken care of. Or if you're sad, then your spouse is going to be upset that you're expressing sadness, or your spouse is going to get upset that you're crying as if your crying was a bother to them. It's like, that was not you. You were being authentic and feeling your emotions. Were you expressing them in a healthy manner and regulating them at the time? Depends on the situation and it depends who you are. I fucking don't know. But like I said, the emotional regulation can be learned. Emotional regulation can be learned. Processing emotions can be learned. Emotional intelligence can be learned. But you have to look at yourself first in order to learn that shit. So, so it was like, to stop me from dissociating from the work I was trying to do, basically kind of like removing the distraction. It was like that moment was great, but that moment was that moment, and that moment is not the current moment. That moment is not the current moment. But it gave you the tools to walk into this moment. And they're so deep right now. Like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, guys. Like, anyway, so so once I sat with myself and was like, I'm safe to feel my emotions. I can feel my emotions. Like, it's okay. Like, this is a safe space. And I was like, I cried over it. And it's like, part of me felt like I don't feel like I'm really doing anything, but I was. And I know I was very much doing a lot. And it's like, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know, and healing doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And it's like I said, there's a fine line between picking yourself apart and then actively trying to heal. Like, you don't want to be in the spot where you're just picking, okay? You want to be able to, you know, like I said, just love yourself unconditionally and know when it's time to do this work and when it's time for you to rest and when it's time for you to do things for yourself that raise your vibration and bring you back into that state of happiness. Because like I said, we are not meant to live in euphoria forever, and we're not meant to live in these lows forever. There's balance. Come back to union, come back to self. So like I said, every encounter has a purpose. Everything has a place and time. There's a time and place for everything. And right now, the space that I was in was to process my trauma. So I needed to like not be dissociating, because dissociation has been something that I personally have been really working through, because like I would use like all kinds of things to dissociate, you know, like sitting there frozen and like not really there, or just scrolling TikTok and like not doing anything, just scrolling TikTok because I was dissociating. Or when I would smoke weed like crazy, it was like part of that was to help my body, but then another part of it was because it was a form of escapism. Unhealthy coping mechanisms. Like, moderation is key sometimes, but that, moderation is key. Like, it's not wrong to have weed. It's not wrong to get on TikTok and scroll for a little bit, but don't like be dissociating from your reality. Okay? So for me, it was just a different thing that I was using as a form of escapism, was constantly like being in that high. But like I said, when I came out of it, it was like, okay, now I can like think a little more clearly. It's like it's wonderful to feel that way, but it's like eventually you got to come back to center. And so I was processing. I was like, when I was like, okay, I can feel safe to feel these, I cried, and I was trying to like just get it out, just cry about it, cry it out, get it out of my body. And it's like, it was like at some point after writing out to a certain level, like after writing it out to a certain level, it's like I didn't go through the entirety, but I went as far as I felt called to. And like I went as far as the layer would allow me to go, basically, because I didn't want to set myself into a spiral. Because if you do have poor mental health, that's something you do have to take into consideration, is you don't want to be forcing yourself to do this healing and keep going when it's just going to turn into a spiral and depression. It's like, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to heal. And so again, just with the self-awareness and listening to yourself and your own needs and whatnot. So when I wrote it out to a certain level, and I'd underlined all these things, and underlined like, okay, this is the deeper meaning to that, because it came from this. Like, remember what I said, like, about the being fat thing. It's like fat. Okay, why am I so worried about that? Okay, this is what happened in my childhood. Circle it, come back to it later. Because that is a conversation to be had with the inner child. And so I underlined, I think, fear, humiliation, and I want to say like either medical trauma or sadness. And what I started doing after that was like, okay, now that I've cried it out, now that I've written it out, now that I've had this conversation with myself, I want to do some muscle testing to know, like, to clear it out of my body. And this is a technique that I was actually shown from Donna with Salt and Sound, because she did like an emotional therapy with me with muscle testing and like emotional intelligence. And basically what she does is she does it where you put your arm out and she'll do this, and then like if your arm stays, then that's yes, and then if it goes down, that means no. There's other forms of this, like some people will put their arms back and come forward. If it's level, it's a yes. If they come forward and it's like that, it's a no. Some people, like what I was doing was this, is like if it stays strong, it's a yes. If it breaks, it's a no. And that's your subconscious in your body, like working with energy, but also like your body knows. Like your body's very intelligent, so like it'll do that for you, like that. Like I said, just muscle testing to get information with yes or no questions. Like think of it like your body's a pendulum almost, without inviting any other kind of energy. It's just your energy. And and then there's other people, like they'll stand there and like if they like lightly like go back, it's I think if you like yes, then you go forward, it's no, I don't know. But it's like everyone's different. So if you do want to look up muscle testing, you can literally just let's just stay here with it. Let's just stay with this one because it's simple, and I'll show you guys. So with muscle testing, it's like, my name is Lexi, right? See, it stayed. My name is Steven. Breaks. I'm sitting in a gray room. Yes. The walls are blue. Break. See? Like, show me a yes. Show me a no. Like that. See? So I'm just letting it do its own thing, with that. I'm like, it's just, if it resonates for you, great. If it don't, that's fine too. Like, it's just a form of information. And so I was like, okay, I want to clear this fear. Like, I want to clear this fear emotion. Like, I want to clear it out. I want to get that negative energy out of my body but I also want to do this in a manner where I'm able to help clear my ancestors, like not clear my ancestors, but like help them break stuff like generational curses or trauma or whatever. It's like, but it helped, like the type of energy healing I'm showing you right now is what Donna did with me at Salt and Sound, because it's like you're helping yourself heal, but you're also helping heal the ones before you and the ones that come after, which I talk to Archangel Michael all the fucking time, where it's like, I'm not Michael, yes, for protection, but Raphael, I talk to Raphael all the time, you know, please bring healing to the ancestors that come, like, please bring healing to myself, the viewer, the space, like, please bring healing to the ancestors that come before me, please bring healing to the ancestors that come afterwards, you know, please bring healing on the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, circumstantial, you know, all the layers, right? But this form of healing and clearing helps clear generations back, and then any generation coming from you moving forward will not have to deal with the things that you just cleared. At least not, like, you know, everyone's journey's different, but, you know, it's just, it'll be different for them. So, excuse me. So I wanted to clear fear. And it was like, so I asked myself, I was like, was I ready to clear fear? And it was yes. And I was like, okay, am I ready to, like, clear, like, generation? Like, how many generations can I go back? And I was like, yes. I was like, okay. So it's like, that's when you ask it, it's like, you kind of walk back in the generations. And it's like, you muscle test it. It's like, generation 1 is ready to release fear. Yes. Generation 2, yes. Generation 3, yes. 4, yes. 5, no. And then it's like, okay, so you're not going to, so that's where the cap was. You're going to clear up to 5 generations of that specific type of energy. And then what you do is, like, the way Donna taught me was, like, you go, like, down like this. Like, you go like this, okay? And so it was like, you know, I'm clearing fear. And you go, well, let's say it was 5 times. It's like, and each swipe that's pulling energy off and neutralizing it, you know, and just, like, releasing it, right? And that's, like, just, I don't know, it's the way that energy works. It's just a way that energy works. Like, it might look different for you, that's fine. Or, like, you know, with the brushing, of, like, brushing off the energy. But it clears it from you, and then it also clears it from your ancestors. And that's basically a big process of how I did some shadow work yesterday, but also, like, seeing the duality, like seeing things for the wonderful things that they are, but also seeing things for the darker side of it, because there's always both. And learning how to emotionally process and walk through that. So, like I said, that's why I'm making this video, because I want to make a blueprint of telling people how I went through it, so that maybe if you want to, you feel called to sit with yourself and do this work for yourself at some point. And however, you know, if you I mean, it's up to you how you want to heal, but, you know, there's no wrong way to healing. There's just, you know, but there is a balance, you know, of, like, there is balance. There's no right or wrong way to healing, but there is balance. So, you know, just always make sure you're balancing yourself, but also make sure that you're not giving other people all of this major power over you either, because it's like, you are your own light. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to fix. So, anyway, like I said, balance. So that just kind of led into more shadow work that I was processing today. That was a little bit harder. It was a little bit harder than that moment. But it was like, okay. So there are people that are brought into your life to help you at these moments of pivot and change. And like I said, there's a purpose to every encounter. Sometimes it's literally just having a conversation with someone, then you never have them again. Or sometimes it's having a lifelong partner, or like sometimes it's the twin flame, or sometimes it's that person is there for a season in your life. Just enjoy the season. Just enjoy the season. But don't hold the expectation of what it's going to be. Just let it be. So when I did this big cleanse and clear for myself, and did that shadow work, and then it's like I was trying to like bring myself back up out of that vibration, just kind of just be okay. And then it was like before I get into that other part, let me tell you how my meditation finished. So I did the muscle testing, did the clear, and then what I did is I went back into meditation to that moment when I was taken to the hospital. And it was like at that moment I was able to like zoom out. Instead of feeling it and reliving it, I was able to, now that I had emotionally processed it, I was able to look at it objectively. So I was able to like pull out. I was able to pull out and zoom out and look at the memory as if I was like there, but not the person that was in that bed. So it was like me going back to that time stamp basically, and then watching the whole thing kind of play like a movie. If you guys have ever played Cyberpunk, the brain dance is a portion of the video game where you can like go back to memories and like zoom out and like find all kinds of different information. Like, it's a part of the video game, but that's kind of how I view healing, going back to those timestamp. It's like you're viewing it like a movie and able to kind of like pause, rewind, whatever. Like think of it like a computer, like, and like see all these different details that you missed or might not have recognized or realized when you were in the moment living it. So when I went back to this memory, it was like I saw my younger version laying in that hospital bed and shaking. And I remembered that every time my body would shake or have a really massive spasm, it was when the doctors would enter the room. That's what my legs would shake, my blood pressure would skyrocket, and it was a trigger. Like the doctors walking into the room was a fucking trigger. And I was like, okay. Now, remember what I said about somatic therapy earlier, about like getting into your body and like shaking it and like moving it and like just and connecting with your body. There is another part to somatic therapy where you shake. Like there is a sort of thing where you shake, where you lay down, and it's like the cortisol, and it's like your body's activated and your body will uncontrollably shake because it's releasing all that trauma, it's releasing that energy, and it's processing the flood of, fucking stress hormones. So it's a form of healing and processing. It's actually something that also happens to animals. It's like sometimes animals will sit there and just shake and then get up and they'll be perfectly fine, after something traumatic happened to them, and like they're fine. That was just them processing all of that, trauma and whatnot, and that cortisol. But so I was looking at that and I was like, wait a minute. So I was shaking every time a doctor would walk into the room. Maybe it wasn't necessarily entirely, something physical going on, but also something, mental going on. And, there's layers to it. But what I then saw was my inner child standing off in the corner, crying, watching that version. So there was 3 versions: me as the higher self, younger me, little me, and then like that, that 23-year-old version, laying there. So like I'm 26 now, so it was like 3 or 4 years ago. So I was watching this, and I was watching that inner child like crying, and I was like, that inner child in me was being triggered because of a deeper wound, a deeper memory, which was back when I was 13. And that was when I had like 3 surgeries at once, basically. One, I had my appendix removed, and then I also had cysts removed from my ovaries and uterus. And there was some very traumatic experiences at that very young age that I have not processed, that still affects me to this day. And that's the shit that I'm ready to release and let go of. So I had to go in and see that 23 version of myself, go through that with my legs. So literally this healing, this is part of going down the rabbit hole sometimes, but it's like I was healing the legs. I was healing the legs, which brought me to because when I healed that 23 version of me, I was able to go back in and go deeper to that 13-year-old version of me, that 12-year-old version of me, who had experienced something really traumatic as a child. So remember how I said, like, I wondered how much of it was physical versus mental? Still not confirmed about how bad things were physically, but, there was still something physical going on, but there was also, like, a lot of mental going on. And this is something I also learned about in my therapy. So anyway, but I'm not going to put a label to what actually happened to cause it. But what I will tell you is that when we go through traumatic things as children to when we grow up, it's like we attract similar shit, basically, until we clear it. So something that I've dealt with is a lot of medical trauma and a lot of issues with my body, because there's a younger version of me that went through something really traumatic that I never processed. So then as an adult, like, it was like all these like medical trauma experiences. So once I heal this younger version, that's going to sever the cord, and I'm not going to be going through that same loop anymore. That's a cycle that I'm going to be able to break. It even goes a little bit farther ancestral, because it even goes a little bit farther ancestral and deeper, which has to do with, like grandparents, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about us, not them. Excuse me, wow. But however, like I said, that does have a contributing factor. It's just not a layer that we have gotten to yet. So, because also, when you have trauma, you have your trauma from what you accumulate in this life, but you also have trauma that your body and your DNA remembers from your ancestors. So you cannot even have ever gone through something, but your body remembers that sort of trauma because your mother, your father, your great-great-granny went through it. Even though you never went through it, great-great-granny went through it, and somehow that genetic code got down into you. And that is why we clear the ancestors as well as clearing ourselves when we're doing this kind of healing, okay? That's called being a generation, breaking the generational curses. Or hexes, not hexes, but it's like, just trauma, generational trauma. There you go. So, so when I went back to that memory, it was like I gave my 23-year-old self so much love and just love in all the areas that she needed. Like, there was a time, like, during that whole thing, like, where I was all wired up because, like, they were, like, doing stuff to my brain and, like, trying to, I was all wired up, like, in the hospital bed. Like, it was awful. But, I, like, went back to that moment because that night, I just remember crying all night. I just cried all night. And, I didn't sleep. I either cried or I just stared off. So, it was, so I went to her and I was like there for her in that moment, like when she was crying, all wired up. It's like, I'm sending so much love to you right now. I'm sending so much love to you, so much healing, just so much forgiveness, just so much love. And that's, with the younger child, it was like that younger child, like, that was standing in that room in the corner, like, while my 23-year-old body was like shaking, when the doctors would go in, I was like, okay, you're coming with me. Like, I didn't say it like that, but I kind of approached the inner child, and I was like, come with me. Like, we don't have to suffer anymore. Like, come with me. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna take care of you. We're gonna process this. We're gonna go back in. We're gonna process it. We're gonna get through this memory. I love you. It's like, I understand that, you're scared, and I understand you're reliving some stuff, and I'm sorry that all those things happened to you, but we don't need to be reliving that. Like, we don't need to be shaking or getting triggered every time we see a fucking doctor. Like, I even just felt like a sigh of relief, but it's like, but we don't have to be all scared. We don't have to be scared. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be humiliated. We don't have to be limp and lethargic. Like, that's not what's happening right now. Right now, my legs are strong. Right now, my legs are strong, and I haven't had muscle spasms in a very long time. Right now, like, we can move and dance, and just, so again, like, all that gratitude for my legs and the stability and the strength that they have now. Like, that is what's happening now. Now, strong, okay, safe. Body is safe. My body is safe now. My body's safe now. We don't have to be triggered and upset by doctors. And we don't have to be upset and crying and da-da-da-da. And then I was like, so I know she was really wounded, but it was like, okay, why don't you come with me, and we'll walk into that place of peace, that place of love and comfort and nurturing, and just that love for my body. It's like, I'm going to come back to clear out those other memories. And that's what I was telling that inner child. And it's like, don't promise your inner child something unless you're actually gonna fucking do it. But that's what I was doing to heal myself. And I was like, I got you. It is okay. You are okay. I am okay. We are okay. We are safe. We are safe in our body. And just like that memory, all those memories, they happened, but they're not happening right now. They're not happening right now in this moment. So we don't have to, like I said, don't have to be all upset about it. So it's like I hugged her, and I gave her so much love, and I brought her with me. And that's how I ended the meditation, basically, was coming into union with that inner child. Like I said, I went through all this information just to clear one thing, and then I got so many fucking different layers that I can go back to and work with my inner child. Like, whenever I feel called to do it, however I feel called to do it. But like I said, all of this healing was influenced by that euphoric moment that I had like a couple days prior. But it was like, that's when I came out of that euphoric moment, because it was like, okay, then, which showed me another layer of something completely different to heal. Which, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and be like, heal. Remember, balance. Balance is key. Always have balance. Always be doing the self-love, the self-care, the ritual, the routine, like, and don't be doing this work when you are not mentally capable or able or have the space for it. Make sure you always have the space to do these types of healing. And maybe that's what you need, is to like go into those euphoric moments to be able to put you into that space to be open to healing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But it was like, but that sounded like cool. It's like being able to like go into those euphoric moments and enjoy them and pleasurable and just having a wonderful time as that adult fucking woman. But then also like taking the healing from those encounters to then know where you can heal and process on your own. So, because it's like, I know I personally battle with, depression, anxiety, and PTSD, and like, just mental health. Like, I have trouble. So it's like, it's hard for me to do the work. It's hard for me to do the work sometimes because I'm already just not in a good mental space. But like I said, when you raise that frequency and that vibration, it kind of like gives you a launching point to be able to go into those deeper things without getting into a spiral and getting lost there. Does that make sense? Like I said, balance is key. Like I said, you can't always be in the super highs. You can't always be in the super lows. Come back to center. Come back to self. But then that also goes into the whole thing about being present in the fucking moment, being present in the moment, and just being in love. Like, love is the key to healing literally everything and anything. Like, anything and everything can be healed with love. Like, the connection, just love. And don't treat it, though, like a fucking, you know, just... It's special and sacred for what it is, and just enjoy the experiences when they happen. So, anyway, so... I'm gonna have to, like, rewatch this video and, like, listen to all these, like, channeled messages, because this is amazing. Anyway, but, so, sorry, I'm like, talking and moving all over the place. So, you know, I went with that healing, and I healed my inner child, I healed myself, I was able to come into union with a piece of myself, with a soul fragment, and that's what that was, you know, healing that timestamp, but also, like, healing a soul fragment, and then having the knowledge of where to go next. And it was like, okay, so I came out of meditation, and it's like I went about my day, like I grounded, and I was like, okay, we're gonna like come out of this now, and we're gonna be good. And, you know, just thinking about some different euphoric things that could be used as a tool for healing, but also as a tool for pleasure, and just a tool for connection and intimacy. And that's when I'm not going to say it was like something got like, but it was like, that's when it was like, okay, here's a layer that you've been ignoring. Now here's a layer that you've been ignoring. And I was like, okay, great. Thanks for showing me that. Appreciate it. Love you too. Like, thank you. Oh my God. So I was, you know, having a conversation with someone, and they said something completely innocently, and, you know, completely innocent. And it was like, you know, because I'm doing the best I can not to have expectations, but I also don't want to be going to high euphoric moments and then crashing. Because it's a me thing, you know, it's a me thing. It's not about them or what they said. It's not about the other person or what they said. It's not about what they're doing together. Like, it doesn't matter. What matters is how I was feeling about the situation, because I was coming from a very wounded space of, again, something from the fucking past. Which, again, having to make that separation of this is this experience, this is this experience. Two completely different things, but those other feelings of layers that were being brought up was like, you can't ignore this. Like, this is here for a reason. Like, and that was jealousy. Like, that part of that was jealousy, and part of that was like self-worth and self-value, and, you know, being scared of being hurt or abandoned or in pain, or like, oh my God, is this person going to get bored? Are they going to disappear? Like, am I not good enough? Like, all those things kind of came up to the surface, when it's like, logically, I know that I have the knowledge of polyamory, and like, I like it, like, that's okay. Like, I have this knowledge of it, but I haven't actually, like, been able to have the freedom to experience it. And it was like, it was just it was a very weird sensation, because it was like I had these feelings come up where I was like really, you know, really upset, but then also like totally fine with it at the same fucking time. So that has to do with layers, that it was just too late. It was like cognitive dissonance, where you have contradicting beliefs, or not beliefs, but like contradicting feelings, basically. And because, like I said, part of me was like really upset and like got down in the dumps, and like that was me like picking at myself, like worrying about my self-value and my worth, and like, oh my God, like, is there something wrong with me? Am I not okay? Like, what's going on? And I kind of went in a little spiral. But then like the other part of me that was like, no, I'm totally fine with this. Like, this is a wonderful experience. Like, there is so much more to explore and experience, and this could be such like a wonderful thing. Like, oh my God, like I have so much love for everyone too. It's like, this is great, but then it was like still those underlying feelings of, like I said, like jealousy and self-worth. So I had to look at that when it came up. Like, that was one I could not ignore and come back to later. That was something I had to deal with in the moment and process in the moment. And, you know, so that I would, you know, not get stuck in a spiral, which it still needs to be worked on. It needs to be worked on a little bit, but that's self-work. That's inner work. That's not necessarily, you know, because of what somebody else did or said or whatever. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with me and how I feel about it because of past experiences. So, so I looked at it and I was like, because it was like I said, whatever was said out of innocence, and like it was okay, but I still got that ping, that sting of just pain. But like I said, it wasn't them that caused it. It was my past wound that was being triggered. So, and that has to do with, like I said, like with polyamory, is like, and I'm gonna just be straight up and honest with you. So if I don't know who's watching this, but you know, if you are someone that is involved in the stories that I'm telling, I am sharing the story of my own story with as much privacy as I can, to where I can tell my story but not like give away all this private information. So I'm finding a balance on that. So like if you do watch this and you're like, are you talking about me? It's like, I might be, but you know, it's just me processing. Okay, it's just me processing and being honest and raw and authentic. And like I said, whatever I'm going through, eventually it's going to help somebody else. That's the whole purpose of this fucking video. It's the whole purpose of this fucking video, to be able to help others through the darkness somehow, because I already fucking walked it. Anyway, so I was, like I said, just talking with this person, and I was like, you know, just got that little twinge of, you know, jealousy. And it brought me back to a space of, again, when I was a teenager. Like I said, another space to heal the inner child. But it brought me back to this space of the inner teenager when I had an ex-fiance and then the man who was my current husband. And it's like, I will full honestly say I loved them both. I don't even know if I want to say loved. I want to say love, but I'm trying my best to like release that, because it just it no longer serves me. But you know, it's like at the time I loved them both deeply, cared for both of them deeply. And these two people also cared for each other. And it was a really fucked up situation, because they were best friends, and then it was the three of us as best friends, and then I got engaged to one, broke up, and then got engaged and married to the other one, and then just drama between them because they used to be friends. And it's like I blamed myself a lot for like I broke a friendship. Like I feel like I broke a friendship, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, no, like it was not all on me. It was not all on me. It was everyone. It was everyone. It wasn't just me. And it just brought me back to that memory of how I wanted them both, but how painful that encounter was, because I did not know or realize what polyamory was at the time. I didn't know what polyamory was at the fucking time. And neither did they. But we've all kind of come to the realization, maybe at least two of us, I don't know about the third one, but at least two of us have come to the realization and acceptance that if we had known about polyamory then, we would have all come together like a wonderful fucking throuple. And but it didn't happen. There was a lot of drama, there was a lot of pain, there was a lot of I don't want to say betrayal, because I mean, some of it was betrayal, some of it was not. But there's just scenarios, you know, that played out with that. And, like, just scenarios that played out with that. And, oh, man. See, I even just got, like, fear of judgment right there. Like, we ain't judging. Like, this is a judgment-free zone right now. This is a safe space. And, but it brought me back to all the feelings, this conversation with the other person that was so innocent, but it triggered that wound of that rejection and the pain of, you know, loving them both and then losing them both. You know, it's like basically like we broke each other. Like the three of us broke each other. And by the time any of us realized anything, it was just too late. And I think that's really fucking sad. I think that's really sad. And there's still cords that need to be severed from that situation. Like, that's just another layer of healing that can be had. But that was something that was brought up to my forefront to deal with. It's like I said, like with this duality of, yes, there's a wonderful high, but there's also just like there's always a balance to each. It's like I'm saying, like come to center, come to balance, come to union with yourself. Like it's not all good, it's not all bad, like, but come to center. But it's like, just like you can swing really high, there's always going to be that duality of swinging really low. Okay? So, yes, you can have this wonderful high, but you could potentially also have a really bad low that is just as deep as the high was. And like I said, that's why trying to talk about coming to center and coming to balance in the middle, because you're not going to live all the time in the high, you're not going to live all the time in the low. Time and place for everything. So this conversation brought up that old wound, and it was like, okay, this is a wound that I've obviously, I'm not going to say I neglected this wound, but what I will say is that this is a wound that has lingered and has not fully been released and processed out, like, because the connections are still there. I think maybe some of the emotions are still there, and the grief is still there, like, but it's time to accept that and like move forward. Yes, it happened, but it's no longer happening now. And it's like, why are you gonna let yourself be all tore up over this? It was like, move forward into peace, move forward into love, move forward into a new connection. It's like, yes, you had all this love for these other people, but you can that love, can be transmuted into something different. It's like, love doesn't go away. Like, there will always be love. Just because you had love for these two people, once you sever that cord, that love is going to transmute and transform into love for new connections and new people and new experiences. And you're going to have learned all the things you needed to learn there so that you can walk forward and have a healthier relationship moving forward. But it's also, but that self-worth, that self-value, that jealousy is something to work on in here, because you're kind of sitting in the middle. You got them over here with so much potential, and like, oh my God, like, there's so much like beautiful things over here, but then there's also like these really painful things over here, and you don't want to take that pain and put the pain over here with these beautiful things. You want to keep them separate. Like, they're two completely different experiences. These are just two completely different experiences, and you don't want to carry that pain over into these new experiences. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat cycles, and that's what we're breaking the cycles right now in order to be free, in order to be unburdened, in order to ascend into a higher consciousness, a higher form of love, a higher form of being. I love this video today. Like, thank you guys for being here and like experiencing this with me. Like, if you guys are resonating, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But like, thank you for being here today with me for my little TED Talk. So basically, that was just something that was brought up to my forefront to deal with, because like I said, everything is a reflection. Like, the way someone treats you or reacts to you is a reflection of them. How you respond is a reflection of you. So, how do you choose to respond? I want to respond with love. I don't want to be feeling these jealousy, but I have to accept that I do feel jealous. Like, I have to accept that, yeah, there was jealousy. Yeah, there was a fear of, rejection or pain or abandonment. But that person is not the person who hurt you. That person didn't say anything out of malice to hurt you. So that is its own thing. And
it's this other experience that was painful that brought up all those memories. So I want to clear jealousy. Like, I want to clear jealousy out and be like, I don't even want to be jealous. Like, why? Like, there's enough love and attention and affection to go around for everyone. And it's like that other thing with polyamory too. Is like, you know, when you're polyamorous, is like you have those dynamics of like when you're polyamorous, is like, yes, there's a love for all. There's just unconditional love for everyone, and you can't own somebody. But at the same time, it's like with that polyamory, it's like there a big portion for people that have like a lot of love is that they have a different dynamic, a different energy, a different interaction, a different connection with these different individual people. So I'm not talking about thruples or group living. I'm talking about a single partner that has multiple partners separately. Meaning, you know, you're a person, but you have multiple boyfriends or multiple girlfriends. You're not all together as one unit. It's just one person having all these different connections with other people. And that's just, you know, sharing the love. The throuple is something a lot more intimate, and that is a unit. But we're not talking about the unit right now. We're talking about, you know, polyamory, and when you are a single person having multiple connections with different people. It's like those things is like each relationship is a different dynamic, and each interaction, each encounter, every encounter has a purpose. So it's like you're gonna feel something with this person, you're gonna feel something with this person, you're gonna experience something with this person, you're gonna experience something with that person. And like when you're doing that, it's like, and you're having these wonderful high moments, it's also you are satisfying and satiating a piece of you that's needing that. But you're not getting, you're not staying with one partner that has to meet you on all these different levels. Like, because that's impossible. No one's ever going to meet you at every single level. So it's like when you have multiple partners, it's like these different partners can satisfy and meet you on those levels that you're needing. That's kind of I'm not going to say the purpose of polyamory, but it's a benefit of polyamory, of how, like I said, it's like this person you might feel more submissive with and fragile and vulnerable, while this person you might feel more dominant with. Like, if you want to talk about it that way, it's like this person you're going to feel submissive and vulnerable and safe. With this person you're going to feel dominant, or you're going to feel, you know, like you're the one leading the show. Or like this other person you might feel really nurturing, while this other person is going to nurture you. Like, maybe this person has these types of interests that you do, but they don't like all these other things, but you can experience that with them. Like, you go with someone else and you can experience all this with them, while this person might not like that. It's like, you know, it's like it's just balance, and like finding like the missing pieces that you're needing, or like all the things that you're wanting. But also the thing with polyamory, on a darker side of it, it also kind of eliminates the cheating, like, because everything is open and clear communication, and everything is talked over and within understanding. And like I said, as long as you have a clear dynamic and you have trust for your partner, and you value your partner and you respect your partner, then you're fine. Then you're fine. But like I said, it's like you just want, like I said, you just want to have that trust, you just want to have that communication, you just want to like be open and just be loving and just have that loving vibration. So it kind of like got real quiet real quick. So to heal this other wound, though, that is something that's going to be a layer for meditation. That's going to be a layer for meditation. That's going to be a layer to work through, of, you know, like I said, like all that jealousy and self-worth, self-value, yada, yada, yada. That is stuff that's going to need to be worked through. You know how, like, we just talked about all this healing, you know, like about the medical trauma? Like, it's the same thing for that feeling of jealousy. It's the same thing for clearing that emotion. You go into that and be like, this is what I'm working on today. This is the layer I'm clearing today. This is the layer I'm healing today. Then you go into the meditation, you write it out, you relive it, you connect with the inner child, you clear what you need to clear, you clear for your ancestors what you need to clear. Move forward, great, wonderful. A+, star sticker, or whatever. Just like a success sticker, like good job, like with a sticky star. But like I said, just like by clearing that memory, those memories that are actually causing the pain, you clear that, then it leaves this beautiful thing over here to flourish into whatever beautiful thing that it's going to be. But you got to work here. You can't sit there and fester these feelings, because it's like, those people didn't hurt you. Those people did not hurt you. Those people did nothing to you. Those people did nothing but show love to you. So you got to work on yourself to deal with that came up. And like I said, how you respond, or how others react to you is a reflection of them. How you respond to them is a reflection of you. What kind of reflection do you want to be looking at? Do you want to be looking into a reflection of jealousy and pain, or do you want to be looking into a reflection of love and abundance and just pleasure? What do you want your reflection to look like? But you have to take care of yourself first. Take care of your heart first. That's why at the beginning of this video we talked about, this is nothing to do with your energy and everything to do with mine. This has nothing to do with your energy. Like, that's why there's the barrier. That's why there's the barrier. That's why we clear our energy and return energy that does not belong to us, and we return it to where it came from, cleansed and charged with unconditional love, and call our power back to us, cleansed and charged with unconditional love. Okay? Just staying in that loving vibration. It's like, just like these partners are going to bring you so much in a wonderful way, they're also going to show you the duality side for your inner healing. It's up to you to, instead of like, oh my God, this fucking person, instead of doing that, it's where you look within yourself and see things as lessons and see things just as love, because love heals all. Love just heals everything. So, yeah. Anyway, this is a process. This whole thing is a process. This whole thing is just a beautiful fucking thing. Thank you for coming to my live. If you came here live, thank you for showing up on the replay. And if you feel like I spoke about you in this, and like I said, I tried my best to keep it like where I'm not giving all the details, but like trying to show, like I said, the whole purpose of this video was to show a path of healing, to show how to cleanse and clear, to show like how to do the shadow work and how to come into self-acceptance and self-love. Healing, there's no right or wrong way to healing. It can look like anything, and there's going to be these wonderful experiences. There's going to be happy moments. There's going to be sad moments. There's going to be just wonderful moments. That's life. That's just part of living life. Live life day to day. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to walk into your life. You never know who's going to walk out of your life. So just be happy in the connection that you have in the moment when those beautiful moments are happening. And the more you say I love you to others, the more you connect with others. Like, that's all you got to do. Just talk to people. You want intimacy? Go talk to people. Because everyone has a story, and everyone has something to say. Everyone has something to share. Everyone has something to teach. Everyone has something to learn. You are worthy. You are safe. It is safe to feel your feelings. It is safe to be loved. It's safe to do the inner work. It is safe to have wonderful experiences. You just got to process through it. You just got to work through it. I'm not saying not everything has to be fucking work. Sometimes you can literally just have fun. Like, that's another thing. Sometimes you can literally just have fun. Just have fun. That's all you got to do. Just have fun. Don't worry about nothing else. Just have fun. So yeah, like I said, it's just, you can't be in the highs all the time. You can't be in the lows all the time. Give yourself what you need. Take care of yourself. Take accountability, and just work on yourself, and just be who you are. You are not broken. Just be who you are. That's all you have to do. You are perfect at every stage. You are perfect for your imperfections. You are divine.
You are amazing. And your reality is going to shift when it needs to. Your life is going to shift when it needs to. You're going to have the experiences you have when you need them. Just manifest your beautiful life. Just become your beautiful self and fall in love with your beautiful self and build the life that you want right now. Everything else will fall into place. And yes, there'll be experiences. Yes, there'll be lessons. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it in the end. It's all love. Just love. And I love you. Thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for everything. I hope we can do all of this again sometime. So, yeah, I think I'm going to re-listen to this video because I think there's going to be some awesome nuggets of information that I can get out of it. But also, like, I just feel good, you know, showing up to help others, because maybe by making this video, I help someone process their medical trauma. Maybe I help someone have a little bit of realization about polyamory. I know I'm healing myself just by making this video, but it's like maybe I'm able to help other people with this video somehow, and that's my goal. Like, I just want to be able to help people. I just want to be able to love people. Like, I don't want other people to be in pain. Like, I'm loving myself, and I want to love others. And this is a safe space and non-judgment and unconditional love. Everything is love. So, anyway, thank you for being here. Much love.